Muchas gracias a la delegada de Santa Lucía. Tiene la palabra la delegación de Bolivia.
Gracias, señor presidente. En primer lugar, para agradecer la realización de esta reunión conjunta entre el Consejo Permanente y el CEPSIDI. Creo que es muy importante iniciar este proceso de reflexión y de diagnóstico conjunto. Queremos agradecer las presentaciones realizadas y sobre todo la presentación a cargo del embajador Gabriel Fuchs. Los temas como la asistencia humanitaria, la mitigación de desastres naturales, son temas indiscutiblemente importantes y preocupaciones centrales para el gobierno de Bolivia. Creemos que la Argentina ha desempeñado un papel muy importante en esta materia y mi país ha sido uno de los beneficiados con la iniciativa de los cascos blancos, por ejemplo. En esa medida, en los últimos años, hemos sido uno de los países que ha apoyado y ha coauspiciado las resoluciones que sobre esta materia se han emitido en el marco de la OEA. En esa medida, en la medida que el tema de los desastres naturales se está convirtiendo en una preocupación creciente en la agenda internacional, el gobierno de Bolivia apoya la creación de un grupo de trabajo. Creemos que es tiempo de trabajar más en temas como la prevención y la respuesta rápida, la gestión integral de riesgos y, por supuesto, también tomar en cuenta que la pobreza es una causa central de vulnerabilidad. Creemos también que la OEA tiene un papel que cumplir en lo que denominaríamos la cooperación regional multilateral y la coordinación de este esfuerzo interamericano en materia de desastres naturales. Gracias, señor presidente.
Gracias al delegado de Bolivia por su presentación y por llamar la atención sobre tener en cuenta la pobreza como factor de vulnerabilidad en este enfoque multidimensional para buscar cómo se armonizan todos estos mecanismos de prevención de desastres y atención humanitaria. Tiene la palabra el señor embajador de Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I wish to congratulate the Assistant Secretary and the other principals who have been working on this very, very critical and sensitive area. And I'd like to ask a few questions, also to thank particularly Argentina for the work that they have been doing, and to thank also our brothers and sister states which have assisted Jamaica in our recent problems. We had Hurricane Gustav last year, and the year before we had Hurricane Dean. So far the Caribbean has been relatively quiet, and we hope that the devils will go to sleep for another extended period and not allow us to have to go through the very great difficulties that we did in the last 2 years. But because of this, not only Jamaica but all the Caribbean islands are traumatized every time the hurricane season starts on the 1st of June. And we hope that certainly the mitigation aspect of the planning will become more intense. I don't know if we are sufficiently getting across the concepts of mitigation to the areas in which they are most needed. At the technical level, we certainly understand them, but I constantly ask persons and organizations who are involved in hurricane repair and hurricane reconstruction, and it doesn't seem to me that somehow we are able to be getting across the idea of the engineering systems, of the planning systems, of the various technical requirements that will allow us to reduce the problems that we have whenever we have disaster. In particular, I'm speaking of hurricanes, but that would also refer to earthquakes, which are less often found, but nonetheless do come from time to time. Mr. Chairman, I think we should all be a bit ashamed that after 18 years we have been unable to get a substantial ratification of the protocols of the system. And, you know, if something takes 3 or 4 or 5 years, one can say, well, the people are busy. But after 18 years, one is entitled really to sit back and say, is it that the relief that is being given is sufficiently substantial? Is it that the programs that are being put in place are already so well organized that the various governments don't see the necessity of signing? In other words, there is no stricture, there is no problem that will be improved if there is a signing, because not to have the thing signed means that there's a lack of permanence, means that the organization can't settle down. And I really think we should consider some sort of mechanism within the system of going to the various countries and asking them to give us a date on which there will be a signing, so that we can bring that section, which is the preliminary section of the operation, to a closure, and then from there move on. The second issue I would like to ask is, I noticed that we are going into another series of studies as to how we can best organize and operate the system. Disaster mitigation of necessity has always to be reassessed. And even if it weren't so, with global warming, one feels that there might well be constant need for assessment. And I wonder whether we shouldn't be looking at a process of constant review. Indeed, I think that in disaster relief, whenever you have completed a particular incident, it is standard operating procedure to go through and assess what you have done, and then to make a report on that. I wonder whether we should not be thinking rather of putting it in place as a permanent mechanism, because there's always every year there are disasters of one kind or another, so that we can have that as something that constantly happens, rather than to be constantly setting up ad hoc bodies to work for 3 or 4 years, and then if you don't do it, if you miss a deadline, it isn't done, and it's something that really ought to be done. My time is up. I'm very sorry, Mr. Chairman.